President Trump has announced a ban for travelers from a dozen countries outside the United States, and one of those countries is Afghanistan. Shawn VanDiver is the founder and president of AfghanEvac, and he joins us now to talk more about the ban and its effect on Afghanis. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Scripps News.
Thanks so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
So tell us about your group, AfghanEvac. What is it that this group does?
Sure. So AfghanEvac stood up during the chaos of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. We're a 501c3 made up of veterans, frontline civilians, former diplomats, school teachers. We've got a children's book author. We represent a broad cross-section of American society, every part of the American experience, and we work to help our allies reach safety.
So who are the people that you are helping and resettling from Afghanistan into the United States?
Sure. So we help interpreters and former drivers and cultural advisors, so people in the consular or special immigrant visa track, but we also help the lawyers and prosecutors that put the Taliban away, the journalists, the family of active duty U.S. military service members who are trapped, the partner forces who trained, fought, and bled alongside our Green Berets and Navy SEALs. Anybody who stood up for the idea of America and has an eligible pathway into the United States through the comprehensive multi-year end-to-end program that we built with the last administration called Enduring Welcome, we help.
So were these people that you were helping already vetted? Have they gone through some formal vetting process in order for you to be able to reach out and help them relocate to the United States?
Yes, everybody who goes through Enduring Welcome, and I want to be very clear, we act as the sort of voice for Afghans, and we help with the ongoing policy challenges. We sit at the table with government. We convene a bunch of other groups. AfghanEvac manages a coalition of 250 organizations, so we take ground truth all the way up to the senior-most leaders in government. Now, anybody who's in the Enduring Welcome pipeline has to prove their identity, has to go through extraordinary vetting. In fact, Enduring Welcome is the safest, most secure legal immigration pathway our country has ever seen.
So did this travel ban then announcement come as a surprise to you, or had you prepared for what might happen given the travel ban that President Trump implemented in his first term in office?
So we knew it was coming because of Executive Order 14161 that President Trump signed on January 20th, and because of what he said on the campaign. And we were getting leaked documents from the State Department and elsewhere telling us, hey, a travel ban's coming. We were able to break that through New York Times and Associated Press and Reuters and others. And we talked about it on Scripps. So we knew it was coming. They had to delay it because of that breaking news. And we knew that they would try to use a political opportunity to issue it. And that political opportunity came in the attack on Boulder. Now, what's so interesting to us is that it was an Egyptian man who perpetrated that attack in Boulder. It wasn't somebody from any of the countries that are on this list, but they're counting on Americans not using critical thinking skills to think through why this might be happening. And the truth is that this EO it's just political opportunism.
So you work closely with the Biden administration, from the White House to the State Department, many different agencies within the government. So when the president said that the U.S. could not properly vet those coming in from the countries that are now on this banned list, you were, talking to the government. In terms of Afghanistan, though, was he right? Because it sounds like you have vetted these folks thoroughly.
So we don't vet anybody. We're a nonprofit organization. The United States government has vetted these folks. They vetted them when they went to work for them. They vetted them continuously over the past 20 years. To get into the Enduring Welcome pipeline, you have to go through extraordinary amounts of vetting. Here's the deal. Afghanistan, due to our relationship there, is not a problem where we don't know enough about people, right? We do know who those people are. In fact, we know too much information. That's why it takes so long to complete the vetting. So when Stephen Miller gets up and says, we don't know who these people are, they're coming here. Yes, we do, Stephen. Call your friends at the State Department and the intelligence community. They'll tell you that we have a ton of information on these folks. And the truth is that one pretty good mark of the vetting is when we tossed a gun to these folks and they took life in the name of the United States. They protected American service members, both in Iraq and Afghanistan. These folks the interpreters, the folks who stood beside us, wartime allies, anybody who stood up for the idea of America and is now at risk due to our relationship with them deserves this protection.
Do you think that this is then going to sour relationships with other countries and other governments going forward? Because obviously we're making promises to have people in country to help our country with safety against defense against terrorism. So do you think this is going to set us on a path where we won't have any relationship with these countries and we won't have any intel information and therefore no security?
I think that's likely true. I do want to make very clear about this executive order in particular. This executive order, in fact, provides an exemption for special immigrant visa holders, but it creates a false sense of reassurance because of that. Some are exempt, but at the same time, the administration is eliminating the people and programs that made those exemptions functional, right? They're eliminating care. They're eliminating enduring welcome. They're eliminating employees who had all of the chief of mission approvals for Afghan SIVs that are coming. So this executive order with regard to Afghanistan, I think they're going to try to couch as a win, as a good thing, but we're not going to be fooled because we know that the executive order that bans refugees means that family of active duty U.S. service members are trapped on a U.S.-run facility in Qatar. We know that the family reunification babies, 12,000 family members need reunification. They can't come here because of action they've taken. We know that they're disabling all of the infrastructure in multiple different parts of the pipeline so that they can throw up their hands and say, well, I guess it doesn't work anymore.
So what can your organization do now? What are your options? Have you had any communications with the White House, with the State Department to see if you can't still operate?
I mean, look, we're getting a lot of back channel information, but it seems like there are people throughout the government who very deeply care about this. But the people, the political appointees in charge, the folks from the Ben Franklin Fellowship are actively trying to deconstruct this. Stephen Miller does not want to do this. The only way we're going to get this is if Congress wakes up and remembers that they are a co-equal branch of government and takes action. They passed a law that said that care needs to exist. Representative Dina Titus passed a law along with Republican Jim Baird called the CARE Act that says that through December 2027, the State Department is required to appoint a coordinator for Afghan relocation efforts. The Trump administration is ignoring that law and dismantling CARE. So what it takes is Congress stepping up, and we need support from Americans out there. So if you go to AfghanEvac.org/donate, you can help us keep in the fight. You can help us force their feet to the fire, or hold their feet to the fire and force them to the table to keep doing this important work, protecting our national security and keeping our promises.
Shawn VanDiver, founder and president of AfghanEvac, thank you so much for your thoughts on this and your time this morning.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon.